had an idea how to do it, and I say we can do this, and that's how I started. And I did, like, obviously on top of my day-to-day job, right?
Yeah.
I was still doing testing, I was still reviewing all the report and maintaining that principal technical authority role, but I was also learning how to code and make this solution, hardware and software, happen. That took a lot of personal time, obviously, because you have to do at night or in the weekend, but I enjoyed. Like, the problem is, as I say, when I have a problem or I have a vision, I just go for it, and I don't stop, and that's what kept me going and make the result. Like, it's easy to give up, right? It's easy to say, it's too difficult, it's impossible, because that is the feedback that you get from people, right? When you say your idea and they say, yeah, but no, it's not gonna work, no, it's impossible, why everybody doesn't do it, right? And it's difficult, and absolutely it's difficult. And for me, the challenge was...
Okay, Luca, thank you for joining us on the Leader Scout podcast. We
Thank
are
you for
going
having
to,
me on.
no problem, my friend. It's about to, we're about to delve into your current role as the CEO, and we'll basically, we'll go back to when you started as an engineer as well. So tell us about your current role in Machine Monitor as the CEO.
Yeah, so at the moment in Machine Monitor, what I'm doing as a Chief Operating Officer is more developing a new business unit. Over the years, I build and develop some solutions that try to address some of the issues that we have in the industry for condition assessment. And I try now to build a viable business within the business. Basically, that is my day-to-day role. And I hire some people, so we start to build a team, and we start to go to market and find new opportunities.
Perfect. And what does Machine Monitor do exactly?
So Machine Monitor is a engineering consultancy group that they specialize in providing asset owner high-level engineering support. So we provide basically information of how to manage their asset, what they should be doing, and how often they should be doing. And at the same time, Machine Monitor is capable of providing field service. So we have a big team of field service engineers that they can actually go and do the job. But the core value of the business is the engineering knowledge. So the Machine Monitor has several engineering experts on different assets, and we are able to supply this kind of value to the customer.
Perfect. And with the assets, is there any particular assets which you focus on, or is it any sort of machinery basically on mine sites?
It's mainly focused on electrical assets, so
Okay.
and from medium voltage and above.
Awesome. Okay, that's great. So let's find out how you got there, Luca, because you're a young gentleman, and you're now the CEO of a very reputable company. So let's take it back. So I'm taking it back to now. Forgive me here. From Italy, is that right?
Yeah, I'm from
All right.
Italy.
Let's start in the early days of Italy. Is it? Listen, I'm probably going to butcher the name here, but I'm going to try because I like to give it an effort. Schidata, is that right?
Yes.
Perfect. Take us back to there. Well, what was your role at Schidata?
I was a warehouseman, so I
Okay.
started as a part-time employee.
Yep.
After high school, I was very convinced that I wanted to be an engineer since
Yep.
the early days, because I always loved math. Was like natural for me, and they say I want to be an engineer. So obviously life takes you in different paths, and I had to work, right? And so I found this opportunity on a website similar to Gumtree, right? They were looking for a warehouse helper,
Yep.
and I say, why not? So I start as a part-time employee. Then after 1 year, they asked me to work a bit more. They need more help, so I start to be full-time, and I worked there until I found another opportunity that
Yep.
was more fit my studies.
No
So
problem. So you were
pretty much,
studying at the time, was it? Was it just
yes,
kind of a gateway? Yeah. Perfect.
yes. So yeah, I abandoned the idea to be a full-time student,
Yep.
and I just did as a uh, hobby,
Yeah.
basically. So I study at night and in the weekend, and I just proceed like that. So a bit of effort, but absolutely worth it. Yes.
No problem. And it's funny that you say that you like maths. That's probably my worst subject. To be fair, I absolutely hate maths. But listen, like you said, engineers very technical individuals, and they do like the either number crunching or problem solving. That's literally their job. So take us to RFI then. So you've basically realised that in your warehousing days that you wanted to progress into. Was it an engineer role next, or?
No, I was a tradie, basically
Okay.
an electrician. So that is a government entity, is the railways of Italy.
Yep.
So I got this opportunity. A friend say, "Oh, look, there is this public possibility to work for a government company." And obviously, we live in a society where government roles are kind of gold, and you cannot
Yep.
let the opportunity go. So, and was kind of related to my field. So I studied to be an electrician in the high school. So I applied for that. I won the position, and I became an apprenticeship to become a specialized technician for the railways. And I
Yep.
worked there for 2 year and a half almost. I had to
Yeah.
relocate, so I had to change city. I moved to another city, which is only 1 hour and a half away by train to Bologna. Italy is a very small country. Yes, that job was mainly more a tradie, like a classic tradie. So all day on site, fixing problem, repairing stuff, or doing normal maintenance and pulling cables. Actually, was one of the best moment of my life. I really enjoyed the job. It's very satisfactory when you build something or you repair something and then works,
Yeah.
and very heavy physically, but very rewarded. Yeah.
See, this is how we know that you was going to be a very good engineer as well. And if you're a dual trade, by the sounds of it, where you're an engineer and a sparky,
Yeah.
you're like hen's teeth, as the Australians like to say, basically.
Yeah, I think it's a great combination, like because I'm not very good obviously now because I haven't been doing for a long time, but you have a bit of hand skills, like you can do stuff, you can build stuff, and at the same time you actually can analyze and understand the problems.
That's it. And it goes back to the problem solving, doesn't it?
Yeah,
So no,
yeah.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So you had a good stint at on the railway basically, for 2 years, and then basically, what made you think to yourself? Because this was the part of your career where you actually went as an engineer. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, so the event was mainly I complete my bachelor degree. So I graduate, and after the degree, obviously you have different opportunities. And my drive there was mainly to get closer to the university. I didn't mind about the job. I just say, look, I live far away. My dream was always to be a student. I wanted to study full time, right? And I say, let's get closer to the university. So after an exam, when I was finishing my bachelor degree, I found this post in the university where they were looking for an engineer for a spin-off company of the university, which is called TechImp. And I say, why not? So I apply, and after I graduate, and they took me.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't know if they have that in Australia. I should be speaking to the university to answer that question, but it's always been a thought of mine. Do universities offer that aftercare program once you've graduated to get engineers? Because I know they do it in, say, TAFE as a trader, an apprenticeship. There's apprenticeship programs out there which actually get, say, electricians into positions. But is there one for engineers? Do you know that in Australia?
I'm not sure. We hire several young engineers, but
Yeah,
they apply to our ads, so they not necessarily link. And for,
correct.
for sure they could be. Like
Yeah,
in my case was a spin-off of the universities, like a project of the university that become a company,
yeah,
and obviously it was born in the university, so that is where they were looking for people. And
yeah.
some of the professors were the owners of the company, so it was kind of interconnected with the university, and that was making me decide, okay, let's try. Maybe I get closer to what I want to do, which is studying. And at the end, I found a really great company that
Hmm.
offered me the possibility to travel around the world. That's why I'm here today. Yeah,
Wow. Okay, let's get into that then. So that's TechImp. TechImp,
taking.
is that right? Yeah. Awesome. Talk to us about TechImp. What do they do, and how did they offer you to travel around the world as well?
Yeah, so TechImp is specialized in designing instrument for condition assessment. They develop a technology for online partial discharge measurement together with the university. Obviously, it was a spin-off. And this kind of measurement is very specialized. So they offer basically the service all around the world to do this testing. And I became a service engineer. So I was the guy going and doing the measurement. And was absolutely a great experience. Like I remember the first trip I went to um overseas. I went to Washington D.C. and
Wow.
I was super excited. Like I didn't mind about the job. I was just very excited about traveling,
Yeah.
and I did that for quite some time. I've been a service engineer until 2017, 2018. Over the years, then obviously you gain a massive experience. Like field service engineer is a bit difficult role on the personal level because you're always away from home, right? You're always far from your family and friend, and you may have to travel on the weekend. You may have to stay away on the weekend. But on the professional side, he's offering a very easy and fast way to gain experience because you experience many different things in many different places that normal engineer that work in one location they may only see in a lifetime. Like you would see in few years a lot of stuff, and that's what keep me going because I really enjoyed the challenge and the experience that I was gaining, and the possibility to connect to people all around the world was amazing.
Yeah.
I learned English. I didn't speak English, so that was
Awesome. That's a bonus as well. But
yeah.
I think you're exactly right. Just summarizing that, it sounds like one of the benefits was the fact that you learnt different countries' standards as well, right? So a lot of the time, like when I'm trying to work with candidates who are relocating to Australia, is they need to realise that there's different standards in every country doing the job. Just because, say, let's just use an electrical engineer, right? Just because you're an electrical engineer in, say, Dubai or India or the UK, it doesn't mean that you know the standard, like the Australian standards. We'll just use Australia as an example. So I think that's what you're trying to summarise there, Luke, is that you're really getting the knowledge of how other countries do it, how other people have the standards, and also even down to the individual capabilities, like how do they, work on a daily basis. Is that what you was trying to summarize there? Is that
Yeah, correct. Like you would see different culture. Obviously, everybody has a slightly different way of living and approaching the problems and working life. And in terms of standard, there are many standards that are international and just apply locally. So that is kind of similar, but you will see different level of development, right? What we are doing in a certain area, like for example, Australia is really ahead with the security and safety. So the health and safety regulation are very strong and apply on any task that we do. In other country, that is not there yet, right? They have regulation, but they're not so they're not apply in the same level of Australia do. So and that you will see all these different variation, different way of in my job, different way of approaching the problem and how you do the testing is can be slightly different depending on what they are used to do. So it's very interesting. You would actually understand why the international standard propose a certain stuff, and you would see that in some country they apply in a certain way, other country they do different, and you can kind of put all the pieces together. Is absolutely magical.
yeah? Do you feel like you did mention that Australia has a little bit more stringent regulations to health and safety? Do you feel like that's well? It's definitely obviously a benefit, isn't it? They really do take it seriously over here. Do you feel like the regulations in Australia are a little bit more strict?
No, I would not say that. I would say they they are applied properly. Like the regulations, obviously, health and safety. Everybody goal is to be safe at work. Nobody want to get hurt, right? And
Correct.
in Australia, what I've noticed, like we really do it. We
Yeah.
really apply these policies on every task we do. right? And there is no way, very difficult for you to bypass this rule. So there are many levels that you need to follow. In other places, maybe less
Awesome.
than Australia. That's what I found.
Yeah,
But health
awesome.
and safety obviously is the drive of every kind of work. If you want to get at home safe, it's extremely important that you rely on
Absolutely.
that rules. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I work currently for an agency, even on the recruitment side, who takes safety very, very seriously. I've been in the recruitment industry for quite a while, and these guys have really got it down pat where we employ safety people, etc., to safety people, health and safety managers to even look after our contractors on site, where we can turn clients away if we feel like their sites or factories, etc., are not up to scratch and up to par where we need them to be, because it's a big thing, isn't it? It's a
Oh
big
yeah,
thing.
yeah, it's absolutely vital, I would say, because you really don't want to have any accident, and
Yeah,
it is what you would like to achieve, and I think everybody should aim for that, because if you can imagine, your personal life can be affected by your work, and it's not really
correct.
worth it.
Right, absolutely. Okay, so Tech Imp has allowed Luca to travel around the world, and he's arrived in the premium state in Australia, as I like to say, which is Queensland. So
Yeah.
you've actually moved on now. Forgive me here, but did you relocate to Australia with Tech Imp and then leave, or did you relocate yourself and then obviously secure a position in Australia?
No, I relocate. I found a job before relocating. So,
Correct. Okay. How
and
did you find that yourself?
yeah,
How did you find the search, and was you getting a lot of responses or a lot of rejections? How did you find it?
I didn't look for it.
Okay.
Normally, in my experience, opportunity comes, and you need to be able to identify them and grab it, right? And that's what's happened to me. So after many years, obviously, as a service engineer, and I graduate in the meantime, so I got my master degree, and I complete my student career. So I complete my 5 years of university, which in Italy is kind of standard to do 5 years to be an engineer. Traveling around the world, as I said, I met many people, and I've been in Australia with Machine Monitor to provide a service, a training, years before, and they asked me if I knew somebody that could help them with the cable department, and I say, well, I know how to do it, and they asked me if I want to join, and well, I was in a position in life where I really wanted to try something different, and
Yep.
I I took the chances, and I say, why not? Let's do it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Was is Machine Monitor just based in Brisbane, or are they actually national in Australia?
Oh, they are international, so they have an office in Hamilton, New Zealand, and
Yep.
in Australia they are across all the states. So they have
Yep.
an office in Perth, one in Darwin, one in Newcastle, Brisbane,
Yep.
and the one in New Zealand. So they are missing Victoria, but they cover all the state.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So you joined there. I just want to touch on, just before I go into your Machine Monitor career, because it's going to be a bit of an insightful one. And this is picking up the pieces where relocating for individuals, because I feel like a lot of the audience and also individuals who know me, I really try to give them information on how to do it correctly, the relocation side of the market. And the one thing which benefited yourself, Luca, from my memory, is saying yes to opportunities and the travel opportunities, and also develop it. It sounds like you developed your network straight off the bat, right? And that network generated you an opportunity in Australia. That's basically how it came about, is it?
Yeah, correct. And I think it's a very fundamental point you touched there. I think it's very important that whatever you do in life, you don't break the relationship. Try to stay in touch with people is extremely important, because you develop this network, and you never know. Something can change in your life, whatever you want to do or whatever, and knowing more people will give you more opportunities in general.
Awesome. Okay, let's get down to Machine Monitor, which basically looks like it accelerated your career into the position which it is. Well, not looks like, it was. So you joined as a senior electrical asset management engineer. So just explain that role, and then we'll go into obviously how you progress from that role.
Yeah. So when they asked me to join, they built Machine Monitor. They were trying to expand a bit their capabilities and try to enter in the market of cable testing, so stationary asset, and obviously from the name they were more focused on rotating assets. So they
Yep.
wanted to try to uh, do more on the stationary asset, and that's why I joined. And I start as obviously as a engineer doing testing. So I've been all around Australia, and I still travel sometimes, and
Yep.
doing a lot of testing, making relationship and convincing customer that we can do more and that we know what we are doing, and that was a bit of my previous expertise. With Techimp, I did a lot of testing on stationary asset because I'm specialized in partial discharge measurement, which is obviously the instrument that Techimp develop, and that technology is really useful for testing stationary asset and is really difficult at the beginning. So there is a very high barrier to enter and to properly carry out a test and analyze. So it takes some time for young engineers uh, to develop that skills, right? And I had that skills because of the previous years of experience. So that helped me to accelerate the expansion of that division within Machine Monitor and to secure more opportunities for the company. And that obviously helped me to progress
Yep.
inside the company. And I became a technical authority, which is basically the engineer that review the data and the report and make the contact with the customer and discuss with the customer the results. And that is purely because I have experience and I'm a very analytical person, so I really enjoy to understand when I don't know something. I cannot sleep. I need to figure it out why, and that helped me to be very analytical and being able to try to be right most of the time. So I don't like to to say something that I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, you're an engineer. You're an engineer, Luca. I'd hope you make sure that you say well, you know what you're about to present. So, one thing which I will bring up in what you said there, which will be helpful for engineers. I just like to dissect the guests when they present something valuable. Um, Not a lot of engineers develop the client relationship side, right? So that client relationship, business development, etc., is so valuable to a business. And I feel like with yourself, you didn't necessarily need to develop them skills. You could be the senior electrical asset engineer all your career. And I've known people who just want to stay in that lane. They don't want to deal with clients. But if someone was looking to progress, you when you start like you said, going to the technical authority, etc., and you're reviewing documents and then you're also presenting, you need to be able to articulate yourself and, like you said, deliver the correct information. And if you don't have the correct information, you don't need to answer the client's request there and then. You need to go away and say, I will get back to you. But I feel like that sort of skill is probably what even give you one of the few things which give you that sort of step up in your career, would you say, the client relationship side, as well
Yeah,
as obviously
so
problem solving?
I think it's a good point. I never saw in that way, but yeah. So being able to build a relationship, even on the business side, so on your work side, is important. And any business is you are dealing with people, and you need to be able to understand their need, understand their pain, most importantly, because that is the selling point. You don't sell your solution, you help them to solve their problem. That is the real key in developing a relationship and businesses. So you need to be able to understand where the other person are suffering and being able to provide a solution that help them, right?
Yeah.
And this is uh, probably is an I don't know if I developed these skills over the years, so it's a natural behavior. Like obviously, I'm Italian. I was a bit shy when I was younger, but I have this natural capability of talking to strangers, and I don't mind it, right? I don't mind to have a conversation, and that is important. And some engineers, obviously, they, as you said, they don't really enjoy doing that, and it is extremely important. Yes, being able to talk to people and explain yourself and is one of the key
Yeah.
characteristics you need to have. Yeah.
Business development is embedded in everyone. My stance on it being that literally that's my profession. I always say if I'm teaching an individual business development, it's like a muscle. And what you did over the years, Luca, to develop that muscle. So even though it might have been dormant in yourself, I feel like you brought it to the surface by saying yes to opportunities, networking with individuals, speaking to individuals like we are doing today. Also flexes that I do say that flexing the muscle because it's one of the easiest sort of metaphors to use. But it is like a muscle. If you start flexing it, it will grow and you will get better at it. So I feel like over the years, probably starting at early doors in your career, to be fair, by the sounds of it, even as far back as your warehouse, and it was your warehouse operator, right? It's kind of a stepping stone in the right direction. You knew that it was a stepping stone in the right direction, but I feel like each move you've made, Luca, in your career, you've made it for the right, just reasons to progress your career. You know, like RFI, you as a sparker, you trained on, understanding how to fix things. Then you basically became an engineer, you problem solved, etc. And then from there, that opportunity which brought you to Australia, which I'm sure you've got a fantastic life now. That's where you became a senior electrical assets management engineer, and that's you started to do extra responsibilities outside of the scope of your current your role, basically. So think about it. Senior electrical assets engineer might not needed to develop the client relationships, right? But principal technical authority did. But you started to do that early, and you started to take that responsibility on early, and then you became the principal technical authority. Does that kind of summarize it a little bit?
It makes sense, and I think yeah, it's all try yeah, never stop. Probably that is the drive that every individual have, right? And it's easy to say, "Oh, I'm comfortable where I am. Why should I do more?" Right? But personally, I feel like after I know what I'm doing, it's kind of boring,
Yeah,
right? So if you keep elevating your ambition,
yeah.
you will keep that excitement alive, right? And the challenge and the difficulty, the emotion that you feel in achieving stuff, right? That keep you excited about your job and wanted to do, and that I think was kept me going for all these years and never decide that okay, I'm comfortable where I am. I'm gonna do my job and that's it. So I always uh, take on challenges, even into the company. Yes.
I think so. I do work with a lot of senior individuals in the market, and the big thing in leadership is that risks. You have to take risks. You, like you said, to progress into leadership. And now we'll touch on people management at the moment, and we'll get your opinion on people management because that's a good important one in leadership. It is risk. Like you speak to individuals who are in similar positions to yourself, Luca. You know, like in the C-suite, they're all risk takers. Now they're calculated risk. There's different risks, but the individuals generally are very good at making calculated risk is the biggest thing. Okay, so we'll go back to your principal technical authority position, and I'm guessing that's where Lucas stepped into people management. Did you have engineers underneath yourself at that point where you was reviewing their work?
Yeah, I started with the one engineer, and then the company is structured with the different technical authority, different operation manager. So I was having one person directly under me and then overseeing the jobs of other by not directly managing those individuals, but by reviewing their job.
Yeah. And how did you? Now, one person, five person, it's the same. Every person's different, so like it's the same sort of equation. How did you find supporting, stepping into people management and then also coping with your day to day job?
Difficult.
Yeah, yeah,
Obviously, I'm very good with the numbers and thinking, but people relationship is different, very different, right? Because every individual has a different need, different fear, and different approach to everything, which could be a problem, an opportunity, and you need to really understand what is drive them and what limiting them and try to keep them on the dry side. So try to make them feel comfortable and don't be too strict on the overall schema that oh you must do this. Okay, he will do it, but you need to find a way to make him happy in doing it, and that is difficult because obviously even people go through changes in their life, right? You can have a personal problem and maybe it doesn't tell you, and that is the challenge really, and is a day to day task that you need to be able to achieve.
yeah. It is difficult. It's the most. Every time I
Most difficult.
ask, I think it's because initially when an individual steps into people management, this is just my opinion, right? This might not be a factual thing or whatever, right? Someone can tell me if I'm wrong. But generally, a lot when I ask an individual when they step into people management, when they've come from a technical and an independent contributor to the business, a lot of the times they basically say they try to duplicate themselves. So, like, if the individual is not doing it, not their way, but similar ways which you would do it. Oh, why didn't you think about doing it that way? That's basically the hurdle where you try to multiply yourself. But the news flash is that you can't multiply yourself, so you've got to work with, like you said, Luca, that individual's requirements, as in how they'd like to do things, and then strengthen and work on that relationship to find that piece to the puzzle to get the best out of that individual.
Yeah, correct. And it is yeah, it's really difficult, and nobody teach you how to do it right in school. You need to go through the pain and suffering of failing. Like you actually do it, and you get the people upset, and
Yeah.
then like it is a continuous challenge that everybody is growing together because you actually don't. Nobody teach you.
There's a bit of a nugget in there for like the universities, isn't it? First, do they have a program for engineers once they've graduated to put them into permanent positions? And the second thing is, should like people management or not people management, but just something about dealing with people and understanding maybe it's psychology, isn't it, of the extra bit of the extracurricular. But yeah,
Yeah, that would be helpful probably. Just
yeah,
to
just like a little bit of a softer course than psychology, because psychology is like a degree in its own self. Maybe something a bit softer, like in just my opinion, the people sort of dealings, should we say, and then also dealing with money, because they don't teach you dealing with money as well growing up, right? So they're the two courses which I think they may need to educate people on. Principal Technical Authority, and then how did Luca land the COO? So talk to us about that. How did that role come about?
oh, that is a bit of yeah, is a the change that is obviously not so intuitive that change and not so easy to achieve. I think there is a bit of luck, so you need to be in the right place at the right time
Yeah,
to make that jump. And as I say, I like to take challenge. And in Machine Monitor at the time, we were trying to solve some issue with some system that they were using that was not maintained anymore. And COVID hit in 2020, so we were start to be limiting on what we can do. So I start to idealize the idea to develop a remote solution to be able to do the same job remotely. And I think about and I make a plan, right? I actually develop a strategy. Okay, we should do this and I proposed to the CEO at the time, and I show him that it's feasible according to my view and my idea. So I present my hypothesis and say, okay, if we do this in this way, it would technically work, and we could actually do it, right? Even if I didn't know how, but I know that was possible, right? And he support me and he say, just go for it, and I did it. So I spent from 2020 until uh, 2022 probably to do all the hard work. So I was obviously doing my day-to-day job, and I was developing these solutions, and start to get a customer that accept my solution and prove that whatever I build is
Yeah.
something that they need and they would like. And I basically develop a new stuff, and I got the opportunity to expand it further.
Yeah. Brilliant. So did you do that off your own back? So you proactively went behind the scenes and thought, this my company needs a solution right now because the pandemic's hit, and maybe they might have been losing money. I don't know, right? But we need a solution to be able to make our product viable. Is that what? Sorry, services, products or services
Yeah, to
viable?
have an alternative, to add an add-on solution that can be used in that instances, and was kind of a need. So it's something that the market, I realized talking to people, and there a big network, that is something that the people are going toward, right? You have this feeling that the people are all trying to solve the same problem, right? I had an idea how to do it, and I say we can do this, and that's how I started. And I did, like, obviously on top of my day-to-day job, right?
Yeah.
I was still doing testing, I was still reviewing all the report and maintaining that principal technical authority role, but I was also learning how to code and make this solution, hardware and software, happen. That took a lot of personal time, obviously, because you have to do at night or in the weekend. But I enjoyed. Like, the problem is, as I say, when I have a problem or I have a vision, I just go for it, and I don't stop. And that's what kept me going and make the result. Like, it's easy to give up, right? It's easy to say, it's too difficult, it's impossible, because that is the feedback that you get from people, right? When you say your idea and they say, yeah, but no, it's not gonna work. No, it's impossible. Why everybody doesn't do it, right? And it's difficult, and absolutely it's difficult. And for me, the challenge was I have to learn how to code. I'm not a coder, right? But now after 4 years, I can code everything. So it's just the challenge that you need to take, and you need to be willing to put the effort. If you put the effort, you achieve the result that you want. And you need just to be very convinced about what you want to do. Like, you have your vision in mind and say, okay, that is what I'm going to build. That is how it's going to work. And you may not know in details how, but by doing it, you will find the solution that actually make it work the way you want.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all the successful businesses in the world have all solved problems, and it's generally, if there's a market there, if you've seen that there's a market there, and there's a problem, a very common problem to all the clients within that market, you have a business, right? So it is a very simple equation. Now, what the solution is the big what is it? The big giant frog which you need to eat is basically the big solution which you need to develop, and the big task. So that's awesome. So that's basically how you became COO, my friend. So good on you. Okay, we're going to ask you the question which the previous guest left for yourself, Luca.
Yeah.
And the question is, leaders require resilience. What did you do to develop your resilience?
Oh, that is a great question. I don't know if I will have one at the same level. What did I do to develop resilience?
We all have it. We all
Yeah,
have the resilience, but
I
it's
think I just don't quit, right? Don't quit at the problems. As I said, quitting is easy, but keep doing it against opinion of others or situation. That is how you develop your resilience. And as you said, start probably in the early days, right? When you are able to overcome problem and not let you down, you just keep going, that you develop your personal resilience. And in the work environment is extremely important because every day you have many problems that you will have to solve, right? And if you are resilient, you will be able to approach this problem with the right approach, like not being negative, but just put the head on and solve one problem at a time. And that probably is the resilient, right?
Correct. It was a very good question. It
Yeah.
was our previous guest's favourite word. She will not mind me saying that. So no, that's awesome. And listen, Luca, I just want to say thank you very much for your time. I know that you're probably I know that you are a busy gentleman. So I just want to say thank you. And I'm sure, to be fair, a lot of my network are electrical engineers, so I'm sure that they can get something from yourself to how to progress their career moving forward, and take it from there.
No, that's excellent, and thank you for having me. I think it's a great idea to share the stories of others because you can see the LinkedIn profile, but you don't really understand what drive the people to make the change. Yeah.
Correct. I appreciate that, Luca. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Tom.